Hi, I'm Bowen Yang, and welcome to Search Party, the podcast brought to you by iHeartRadio and HBO Max. Think of this as an audio companion to the dark comedy series you can't help but binge watch. Today's theme is fame and narcissism, two things no one working in entertainment have ever encountered, so we're all really going to have to use our imaginations here. Joining me today to discuss this are none other than Clare McNulty, who plays the one and only Chantal Witherbottom on the show, and actress and comedian Kate Berlant, who you also know from her role as Elliott's publisher, Nia. It's a great conversation. Are you ready for it? I hope so. Let's go. Hello, how are we doing?
Hi. We're doing great.
Okay, the theme of today's episode is fame and narcissism. We really bundled those two together. I want to ask, what's been the most narcissistic thing each of us has done this week? I can start.
Yeah, please.
I will start. Experimented with highlight placement. I don't know. It just involved a lot of like mirror time. And so
did you do the half moon?
Didn't do that, but I finally did like jawline highlights. I guess this is an area that I did, and then like it was, of course, we have cheekbone and then down the nose, but this was new, and that was sort of a very narcissistic exercise.
If you had done the Cupid's bow, then it would have been full narcissism.
I did do the Cupid's bow. Indeed.
You have to. Yeah.
Indeed. Kate, what about you?
Well, actually, last night I am one of the Americans who suffers from migraines, chronic migraines. Thank you. And
I'm so sorry.
I just got prescribed a shot, an injection that you give yourself in the leg once a month, and it's supposed to be very effective. I'm scared. Called Aimovig, if anybody wants to look it up. But I had to inject myself last night in the leg, and I was freaked out about it. And then I had my boyfriend. He knows me too well. He was like, "Why don't I film you on your phone, and then you'll play the camera and it won't be as real." And it's horrifying. That was the case. And so I went through the whole protocol and gave myself the injection. And because the camera was there, I was able to do it.
Oh my goodness.
Incredible footage if you want access to it.
Have you watched it? Have you watched it like more than once?
Oh, several times. Sent it to, about 5 people.
Well, how do you feel about your boyfriend proposing the idea?
I was like, when are we getting married? It was so intimate. I felt completely seen.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it was affirming, and it was affirming and not sort of this like assessment of you that was just like pejorative.
There was no judgment.
No judgment.
I mean,
yes,
I weep for him that's who he lives with, but there was no judgment attached whatsoever. It was like a deep knowing.
That's beautiful. Okay. And Claire, what about you?
I just got back from a long camping road trip, and there was a day, maybe 3 or 4 days ago, in the middle of it, when I changed outfits like three times in that day because I wanted to look cute while I was camping.
Totally.
So I went from, I tried a couple of different shorts with a couple of different tops, and I'm deciding that now is the time that I want to show my midriff when I'm camping. I'm finally confident enough in my mid-30s. Like, when am I going to be able to do this again? Anyway, so I did midriff, which is, for me, it was a huge step, and it was narcissism, but I'm also very proud.
I really want to get into midriff. I'm still too scared. It's so sad.
I don't think that it's narcissistic of you to want to. I mean, you're already opting into an aesthetic by going camping. So I feel like, of course, you would want to experiment with outfits,
Yes. Thank you. I appreciate that.
It's like in the 60s, going to the airport meant something sartorially.
Right.
And now
it's true.
That's camping.
It's true.
It is.
Okay. We have a lot to talk about with fame and narcissism as it relates to Search Party. But I want to start with Chantal, the character. One of the more cloying characters on the show, and I think that's all sort of in the portrayal that you bring to that character, Claire, and it's just so fun to watch, and it's just so bewildering, and like I think one of the perfect instances of Chantal is, I think, in season 3 when she's watching these people on the street being like, "Oh, that Dory smiling in her mugshot, that's despicable," and then you, as Chantal, get very distressed and you go, what does this mean about me? And then we go into the title card. But I mean, that's just so funny.
It's so funny, Claire. You're such a genius on the show.
So
it's amazing.
It's perfect. What's the application for you as an actor? Like, what are you bringing to that character anytime you're in a scene?
Well, she was really confusing for me, I think, for a lot of the time that I was playing her. And it was something that I realized a couple of 3 seasons into it, which is that I didn't understand what it felt like to enjoy feeling things. Like this is true of a lot of the characters on Search Party, I think, is that they really, really love to feel things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, it seems like, as an actor, that's something that I should inherently feel. But with Chantal, it's particularly cultivated because the things that she feels are so insane.
Yeah.
So my thing about Chantal has been allowing myself to enjoy the more extreme and irrational feelings that she has. That's sort of been my journey with her.
Yeah, I think it's pure extremity. I think it's like she is just all over the place in terms of her ambition or just in terms of what she wants to do. I mean, what do you think is her ultimate goal? Is it to become a poet? Is it to become this Heartbreak Castle person? Is it to be famous? I mean, what do you think Chantal actually wants? I think like that's what makes her interesting, is that she has these disparate things that she can't really seem to focus on.
Yeah, I don't know if I could say a long-term goal of Chantal's. I'm not sure that's something she's capable of, but I think that she chases. Thank you. But I think she's chasing validation. I think she's chasing a lot of feelings, I think. And that tends to lead her in all of these various directions. And I don't think there's a lot of logic to it.
I mean, she doesn't really seem to have a grasp on what has led her from environment to environment. Like by the time she's back in New York, I don't think she really realizes that Dory and Elliot and Portia and Drew have gone to such great lengths to bring her back. I mean, it's just everything's such a smooth surface in her life. There's just no texture in terms of
right,
what brings her from one moment to the next. But I feel like in her narcissism, though, she's at least harmless.
Yeah.
I
Right.
mean, which can't really be said about other characters.
It's hard to be harmful when there's no premeditation. Maybe. But also, I wish I remember what the actual name for this condition is, but there's some condition where you're always living in the present. There's no past and there's no future. You're just constantly living in the present.
Okay.
Buddhism. I believe is the illness that you're talking about. Yeah.
Right. I guess that's enlightenment. That might be part of her psychosis too.
It's funny you say harmless. You reminded me that once in therapy, I referred to my narcissism as benevolent narcissism. I mean, sometimes I fall into a benevolent narcissism.
What does that mean? What does that mean to you?
That I think sometimes, and I blame my childhood, only child. It does sometimes, depending on your parents, but there's a little bit of the feeling of the world revolving around you. That's very real.
Sure. It's solipsism, which is a different kind of, it's not even narcissism. I mean, there's overlap there, but it's for your reality to be the only valid one is.
It's entitlement. I think I don't know if I'm a narcissist. But I think I have a level of entitlement for sure. But it's not violent. It's not malicious. I don't think I'm not hurting people. I still think I'm considerate, but it's there.
And the distinction isn't that it's benevolent narcissism as opposed to malevolent narcissism, where it all comes from the same source, but then the way that it's executed upon after it passes through some narcissism filter is different.
I think narcissism is actually one of the most misused. I feel like there isn't a common understanding of what narcissism is, because even as we talk about it, I'm like, well, what is narcissism really? Because I feel like there isn't a common agreed upon definition in culture. I think that we're all I've been misusing the term projection for years.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there's certain terms like projection, narcissism that we just use and we don't know what we're saying and then we never are able to communicate with each other.
Okay. For the purposes of this, I mean, how do we want to define narcissism? Let's just say that it's self-obsession. That seems pretty
But isn't
basic?
Narcissism also in a lot of ways born out of self-hatred? I think, isn't there?
Yeah.
Like
absolutely.
it's like you hate yourself, so everything becomes about you.
Everyone I know that describes themselves as a narcissist is someone that I find to be truly empathic. Everyone who's willing to describe themselves as a narcissist in my life is somebody who I'm very, very happy to be around.
I mean, look at me being able to say I have narcissistic tendencies.
Exactly. That's what
Clearly,
I'm
I'm an angel, Yeah.
Well, as it relates to Chantal and on that harmlessness track that we're on, she finds herself in these crazy scenarios in this oblivious way. And I feel like that's probably, and it's like what you were saying, Claire, it's like there's no intention of malice in her narcissism. So that's probably what makes her
innocence.
Sort of, it's innocent. Yeah, totally. Whereas you would have someone like Elliott who is purely destructive, purely malevolent in this way that like erases history, rewrites it, all this stuff. But let's play this clip of Chantal at this femployment party. Okay. And she has an idea for a business, but she can't really, it's still this formless sort of thought in her head. And the person running this group sort of helps her, just teases this thought out to help her arrive at what this business could be.
Because on the other side of fear is business.
So you're saying I should... Sorry, what are you saying?
I'm saying, what does your heartbreak empire look like?
Supportive.
I love that.
And highly lucrative. Oh, another word that's coming to mind is luxury.
There you go. That's it. A supportive, highly lucrative, luxurious, heartbreak...
Shelter?
Boom.
Oh my God.
Fantastic.
That woman's amazing too.
Lucia Struess is amazing.
She's
and
so good.
I worked with her. Actually, I asked her to come and help me work on some stuff for season 4. And she completely, she blew my mind about.
Amazing.
Wow.
She broke Chantal open for me in this really amazing way. She's very special.
Act.
To act.
To really act, I, have yet to become a series regular. I kind of just pop in, say a few lines and leave across my career. So when I finally get those episode arcs and I can really get into the meat of the character, but to have a character to work on, can't imagine. What a gift.
It's really great.
That's amazing. But it's so sweet in that scene, your eyes, Claire, again, that the innocence of Chantal and just it's heartbreaking.
It is.
She's trying to find, I think maybe something, I've always thought of her as really fucking shy, actually very shy and very insecure and very responding to the energies around her and trying to make sure that everybody around her is okay while simultaneously being totally oblivious to their feelings.
Yeah.
But she has always been very vulnerable. I mean, she's very, very raw.
Mm-hmm.
I think part of that is being really insecure and being really confident at the same time.
Well, for her to just leave in the first season to go be in Montreal, I mean, that for her instinct to be I just went through something, I have to go be by myself far, far, far away. I mean, that's a very romanticized thing now where it's it's a retreat or whatever. But it's for her, the thing that she does is disengage, perhaps. I think when she is confronted with certain things, she flails and flounders and doesn't really know what to sort of get a foothold on, because I think the episode before this of the clip that we just played, I think Chantal's parents are confronting her on what she did with the reward money and all this stuff. And you have Chantal saying, I'm going to start a business. I don't know what it is yet, but there's going to be an app. And it's she just doesn't know. She doesn't know what to do. I feel like the thing that makes her harmless in her narcissism is that she doesn't know who she is. And so how can she be, her narcissism can only go so far and extend to such a limited reach, because it's like, well, you can't really build something from nothing. Is that fair to say? I don't mean to totally like reduce Chantal down to like this thing, but
in a way, it's like the only thing that makes her functional.
Sure,
is her narcissism. It's the only thing that keeps her moving forward. Which I think is probably true to some degree for everybody. But like
totally
for her, the like one step forward and the 2 steps back are so intense. For her, it's like 1 step forward, 10 steps back.
Yeah,
any little bit of forward momentum is helpful.
Okay, well, let's set that against this malevolent narcissism of Elliott, who is a narcissist but is surrounded by narcissistic people, not limited to Dorian, Portia, and Drew. With Kate, your character, Nia, I feel like Nia is this, to see the two of you together is beautiful, but then to have your character sort of like also tease out these narcissistic tendencies in Elliott is this scary, unsettling thing. I think we have that clip ready to go as well. Let's watch that. We do.
Oh my God, my naturalistic arc. Again, it's the role is about naturalism is on the page. I just want to be clear.
This is
I couldn't cross my eyes in this one.
And that's the instinct normally?
Yeah, to cross the eyes.
I mean, I think what's important to us is that we were able to provide you with the help that you needed. Mm-hmm. And, this book is so real. And we were thinking, what if you were able to incorporate your breakdown, for lack of a better word, into the narrative, right? I think that would be such a giving storyline.
I learned a lot at Hallways. And I really realized I just want to be honest. And I want to be honest about this book.
Yeah.
So here's the truth. I don't want to work. I don't like working. Working sucks.
Well, first, let's ask, what was it like working with your best friend on set?
He is a tyrant, puts me in my place, abusive on and off set. No, it's so fun just to be able to watch him work, to really see it up close. No, it's of course so fun.
I love that moment so much because it's such a reminder of there's so much craziness going on in Search Party, and when Nia reacts that way, when she's like, "I'm sorry, what?" It's this really great reminder that there is a world outside of the world of these characters, a world in which it's not okay to say I don't want to work anymore. And it's it's like such a great, funny, grounding moment.
Nia is kind of the spine of the show, I would argue. She's kind of the silent structure. Everyone's orbiting around Nia. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say very earnestly that Nia is one of the few citizens of the world of the show who lives in this moral universe where like things should happen in a right or wrong way, but also, I mean, do we feel that Nia kind of enables the worst tendencies in Elliott?
Yeah, sure, because she sees dollar signs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think probably, I mean, we all see that of people who are off the rails and like not doing well, other than the people around them who stand to get rich off of them or kind of want them to kind of go deeper into their own pathology.
Oof.
Dark.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like fame and narcissism. Well, let's just talk about the fame part, because in the show, fame is treated as this thing that like you do it no matter the cost or whatever,
totally.
or you attain it no matter the cost.
Right. Much like life.
Well, yeah. I mean, what have we lost along the way to like us being on TV?
I mean, I've given up so much. I can't even go to the grocery store, Corona aside, for years now. I can't live my life. And it's every day, which paparazzi are outside the house today? And no, I can't trust anyone. People want to be my friend. Why? Everyone wants a piece.
Well, I was having this conversation with friends who are also in the biz, and and all of us were like, oh wait, like there's never been a thing I've related to more than like when Britney Spears shaved her head off, like her hair off.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, of course you would like be this erratic person in the world with everyone's attention trained on you. Not everyone, but like just a scaled up group of people's attention is sort of
Oh, Britney. I was thinking about Britney and just, I mean, few people can survive being Britney Spears.
Has she survived
Maybe no
that
one.
even?
No, she hasn't. I mean, she's still there.
No one has.
Her shell is still there and she's still being animated by like her father. I don't know. I really don't know the
Yeah, me neither.
We'll see a documentary about that in 7 to 10 years. That'll be really illuminating.
Where is the doc? Yeah. Where is the HBO doc? Aaron Lee Carr needs to get on that.
Oh my God. But I just think that fame is this thing that just like withers you and like eats you alive, even if you're not experiencing it, even if you're not on the receiving end of fame or whatever. It's like everybody participating in this transactional frame of fame where it's like, we're watching famous people do things. They're sort of reacting to what our reaction is. It's like, it just, nobody is doing great in that setup.
It's almost like it's its own job.
Mm-hmm.
I sometimes hear people, say things like they're making so much money, then they should be okay with the paparazzi and what have you. And then I think about how dealing with the paparazzi is its own like job, part of the job description, which is part of the reason that the salary is so high. Like the more of these responsibilities you agree to when you become a famous person, the higher your salary should be.
I mean, who was it? Baudrillard, maybe. Sorry to be pretentious, but I think it was Baudrillard who talks about famous people as being beyond death.
Whoa.
Like that's what fame is. It's like you're beyond death. You're beyond... Someone look it up. Or maybe it was me. Baudrillard is me.
Berlant.
But I love that idea. And I think there's something that's so true in that. And that's what's also so... when I was young, which was just 2 years ago, I used to dream of fame. Or do you know what I mean? Like the idea, like when you're kind of a kid or something, you're just like, I want to be like famous or something.
Yeah.
And that really is such a scary existence. Like when you've achieved that level of fame that it's kind of like everyone you're interacting with can't even see you because they're only seeing the image of you. And I'm talking about like the hyper, the Brad Pitts of the world.
Right. That's what we're all thinking of.
Yeah. But
I would say so, yeah.
And what a truly miserable existence. And that's the kind of idea of being beyond death. Like your own life isn't even, what is it? Yeah. Or it's just like, it's only, you've been so heavily mediatized and imaged that when you're actually in the room, you're not in the room.
Yeah. It's this like ontological thing where it's like, it's not even, I'm sure that life beyond death is not even like talking about like immortality or whatever. It's just talking about your life not even being bound to your mortality. Does that make sense? I know we're talking circles around the same sort of themes here, but it's like, it's not your own possession.
Yeah, totally.
Right? Yeah.
And like you don't have access to reality anymore.
Yeah.
Sure. But on the subject of sort of life beyond death,
do we believe in God? Just kidding.
Do we believe in God? Do we?
Now I do. It's weird. Something shifted for me, y'all.
Y'all.
Christ, actually. I'm Christ-centered now.
Yes. Give it the right name. Say the words. I think that in terms of the Nia Elliot relationship, it's like this is a transaction. Your life is this like bartering piece, which is terrifying. And then with Chantal, it's like in terms of the isolation aspect of it, and in terms of, well, just with the isolation aspect of it, like she's like locked herself into her apartment with all these like crazy like decor items, and she's watching TV and she's watching her friends we talked about on the news. And then but to go back to that line of dialogue where she goes, what does this mean about me? It's like, oh, like she is her only point of connection with these people is through television, perhaps. And then she starts to sort of go down this crazy throttling of like self-image or self-worth or whatever. And she's like, I have to start a business. I mean, like, she is sort of unmoored by the fact that her friends are becoming notorious.
Yes.
And the Wallace Shawn, like all you need is one Wallace Shawn person to come in and be like, let's do it. He's so funny. He's such a genius, but that is like perfect. And then like it's kind of true. Like if there's one person that's like, yeah, then
Yeah.
you can just go down this rabbit hole so easily.
She sort of seems to keep finding, she finds Lucia Strauss, who, you know, has faith in her, this woman from Women Leading to Lead. You know, she looks at her with this intensity that, you know, says she believes in her. And then, and then when Wallace Shawn comes in, it's a lot of validation. It takes two.
It takes a Lucia, it takes a Wallace.
Yeah. We all have them in our lives.
After this quick break, we'll continue discussing the themes of fame and narcissism in the context of Search Party with Clare McNulty and Kate Berlant. Don't go anywhere. Okay, let's go about the conversation to more characters on the show.
Yeah.
Who do we think is the most dangerous with their narcissism? We've talked to people who have written on the show who say that the series is constantly at this high pitch of like distress and with rage and with obsession and with self-obsession, that it's a pretty even playing field. But who do we think is the most dangerous with their quest for fame, let's say?
And there is a right answer.
There is a right answer. I would say, I wouldn't say that it's Elliott, because I think Elliott is able to keep track of his, is able to check himself on his narcissism, even though it spins out of control. He's at least able to self-catalog his lies.
Yeah.
And
he's so transparent. There's like, you know, like he can't hide his performance. I mean, John Early as an actor can't hide his performance. Or, you know, you're like, oh, well, he's acting. You know, I can feel that. But I guess Dory, right?
Yeah.
It would have to be Dory.
I think that is the right answer. There is a right answer.
I knew it. Yeah.
But like, how does that the most pronounced in its manifestation? Like what is the sort of most destructive version of that narcissism? I feel like it's in her sort of bending reality to other people. I mean, you know, to use the word, she gaslights everyone into thinking that she had nothing to do with the murder, including the people who saw her involved.
And herself,
so,
even.
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
I think, maybe her belief that she will and deserves to be like exempt from everything and kind of her own. Yeah, she seems to have that kind of like very real feeling of deserving to be absolved.
Yeah.
Which I feel
like I've never seen the show, but just what I've picked up through GIFs and whatnot.
I like to imagine that a lot of that comes from her feeling so stepped on and ignored. I like that point in the show a lot.
Sure.
That once she gets to the point where she finds her power, she feels like she's paid her dues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's funny that you say that she feels like she's paid her dues, because I mean that ties into this entitlement thing that we are talking about, where she feels entitled to being known. She kind of revels in this notoriety with the way that she smiles in the mugshot. Oh, this is the thing I wanted to talk about with Chantal, is that she is sort of fully disconnected from her relationship with these four people, Drew and Dory and Elliot and Portia. And then it sort of just like pushes out into these interesting ways where she is in love with Drew in the second season. I mean, what do you think about Chantal as a person sort of putting people through pain or discomfort through the means of her own narcissism, or through the means of her own indulgences?
I think she just has a perception of reality that is different than what is true. I think she believes that they are all very close friends of hers, and that in college, Drew definitely wanted her and wasn't able to fulfill that because he was with Dory. And I think she has a full narrative going on in her head about how she relates to these people. And so she just proceeds as if that's true.
Okay, last few questions. Do we think Dory is a narcissist, or is she just in denial about what is going on?
I think she's leaning towards narcissism, for sure.
Probably leaning towards narcissism, yeah.
Okay.
Where does sociopathy come into this? Because I think I don't know enough, about that to really talk about it. But I do think that there's, whenever I watch the show with people, that tends to be a term that comes up a lot, sociopath.
Well, also like murdering makes you crazy.
Yeah.
It's like if you're
right.
Like I think if you kill someone or if you're, I don't know. I think that
it rearranges you. Yeah, for sure.
I don't think you come out of that and you go, okay, what are we going to do here? You know, I don't think you can really like pull yourself together and like, unless you're, you know, of course, going the route that they don't go of like going to the, you know, turning yourself in and taking full responsibility.
Right. I was watching a documentary last night, one of these like things that's, you know, barely content, but it's about like a mob boss or something. And one of his acolytes had become a witness for the prosecution. And on this documentary, he was speaking very casually about the time that he went to kill someone. Yeah. And like how he was so casual about it. It was so casual. It was like, well, you know, we had to go do this murder. And then when we were done with that murder, we went and we did this other thing, which is just to say that, I think your reality completely shifts once you've done a murder.
Okay. So I have here, what would the title of your memoir be? Sort of in the Elliott Goss tie-in with his story. But I actually just want to ask, I don't think I need the title. I just want to know, what trauma would you mine for your memoir?
What trauma would you... I do want to tell you a title, though, because when I was 10 years old...
Yeah, please.
When I was 10 years old, I did decide a title for my memoir, and my 10-year-old title for my memoir was I Know This Much Is True.
Oh my God, Spandau Ballet. I mean, first of all, it's a wonderful title, but it's also it's a beautiful lyrical reference to that wonderful song.
Yeah, you plagiarized.
Which song?
Just to clear.
Which song is it?
I mean, I thought it was an original thought, but you were plagiarizing.
I'm sure. But what song is it? I don't. Will you sing it?
It's.
Oh right, this much is true. Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
It's also the title of the Divine, if I may, HBO miniseries. I Know This Much Is True, starring Mark Ruffalo as twins, which I know what you're thinking. Well, that's cheesy. It's divine. He pulls it off. He does the unthinkable. It's extraordinary.
Wow. Claire, that's an excellent title.
It is. Even if it was plagiarized. Thank you.
No.
It was, though. No. Probably.
I'm not hurling that accusation at you. Kate is.
Yes.
I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it like it's being hurled.
Mine would be untitled, obviously.
Obviously. Yeah. But what would the experience be that you would mine?
Right. Oh, God.
I can go. I would talk about the sort of culture shock of moving from Canada to the U.S. to Colorado right after Columbine and JonBenet Ramsey. So I thought Colorado is the place where all the people get murdered.
Yeah.
And then there was one day after school, my first week of elementary, of the fourth grade in Colorado. I didn't really know the language of English. I'd only known my dirty French Canadian. That was sort of the only way I knew how to communicate. And then just went hysterical at the age of 8, thinking that my mother had been shot point blank on the streets. You know, just like, I mean, that's just like, and I think that would probably sell.
Definitely.
Oh, please. You've uttered it now. The calls will be coming in. The offers will be pouring in as soon as this goes live.
So that's like the sort of thread of my memoir. I don't know the title yet. No, the title is Not Again.
Yeah.
Kate, what about you?
Good comment.
Yeah. Well, having suffered no trauma, aside from, you know, the micro T's, which I'm undoing in therapy, but I don't know, probably
T's,
like the
Kate.
classic, my therapist calls them that. I'm like, well, they're still T's, so.
Micro T.
Is that in itself a micro T's?
Yeah. As I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, maybe the only child time spent alone stuff.
I think you would write the definitive only child.
Oh my God. It could be called The Only Child.
Collection. Yeah. The Only Child?
Yeah. Or I don't know why, but I was thinking of, I've never actually talked about this publicly, I don't think, but I was thinking about the first time that I think I remember like performing. I just remember I used to ask my dad, it's fucked up, if I could pretend to be blind on the street.
Oh, no, I've done this. I used to do this as a kid. Yeah.
Oh my God. See? And so, yeah, I mean, it's like, and he would let me, of course. And it was like pretending to be blind, and then like kind of anticipating the reaction or anticipating the person watching me, or I could see them, but they couldn't see me seeing them. And like, seeing their kind of horror or discomfort. But of course I would always, like my dad talks about, like I'd be like, Daddy, I hate being blind. Like I would say it just to really like drive it home so they understood.
Oh yeah. Did you ever watch that Ally McBeal episode? Either of you?
I've never seen a single frame. I just have to stop you there, but keep going.
Okay, thank you. I didn't really watch it that much either, but there is a scene where Lucy Liu is in a rush to get to the office, and she's with her other associates or other lawyers or whatever, and she's just exasperated, and she's standing at the street corner, and the light won't turn to the walking signal. So what she does is she puts on sunglasses, whips out a stick, and just crosses the crosswalk pretending to be blind. And I remember just being so blown away by that as a child and thinking, I want to be that person.
That's how you get ahead in life.
Sure. And to what, like, just fraudulently be disabled? I mean, it's whatever. I would do that too, Kate.
Yeah.
Wild. Okay. Claire, have we landed on a micro T even for what this book could be?
This is an opportunity for me to tell the one interesting story about myself, which is that and so this is what it would all be based on.
The one?
Yeah. There's one, which is that when I was 4, me and my best friend at the time ran away.
Successfully.
We just wanted to spend the night. My mom came over because we were at her house. My mom came over and we thought that if we, hid for long enough, we could spend the night. I don't know. We were being sassy. Anyway, we like hid in the neighborhood. We like hid like in a wash, and then we hid like behind some oleander bushes, and eventually
great touch.
Oleander.
Put that in the book. Put that in the book.
And at some point it got to be like, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my God.
At one
Terrifying.
point we were looking out underneath these oleander bushes and we saw cops walking by with police dogs, like German Shepherds, and there were like helicopters around everywhere. And this is Tucson, so it's like kind of, it's open. We're in the west side of Tucson, so it's open, and people have these big, huge backyards with just like chain link fences. So it's pretty easy to see things, and the dogs couldn't smell us; they couldn't find us, and we knew that we were going to be in really big trouble. So we went back to the backyard and we hid in my friend's chicken coop. Thinking that
pastoral.
I don't know. Maybe they would find us there because we were too proud to turn ourselves in. And
the incompetence of the Tucson police is really kind of the subtext.
Yeah, really
can
on
you
display here.
Believe? So finally, a police officer came into the backyard and he shone a light into the chicken coop and found us. And he put one of us under each of his arms, and he walked. Yeah, isn't that sweet? And
I love that.
Don't humanize them.
Yeah. And we walked into the living room, and our moms were there weeping, and we're surrounded by detectives. And I'm
sure the parallels to Chantal are not lost on you.
No.
Oh, no, there it is.
Nothing was wrong. I just wanted to do what I wanted to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I did more of the packing the bag, going to the front door. I'm leaving, and then of course never actually leaving.
I'll end on this. The only time I've ever dialed 911 was when I was 8 years old. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire was about to come out. We did not know what we know now about Miss J.K. Rowling, but I was so excited for the book to come out. Did not read the prior 3 books, but was just high on the communal collective hype of this release.
We need it.
And my older sister had read the 3 books, and she was like, we have to go to Barnes & Noble for the midnight release. And my parents were like, absolutely not. It's a school night. You're to be in bed by 9, whatever. And we were things had escalated so much that I picked up the phone. Well, first I threatened to call the police and report them for child abuse.
Wow.
And then they called my bluff, and then I actually did it. And then I had to immediately hang up on the dispatcher, and then they called back and they were like, is everything okay? And my parents had to be like, yes, my children are being very spirited about this book release. I'm so sorry. So,
do you remember what you said when they said 911? What's your emergency?
Immediately hung up, was terrified, did not expect someone to actually pick up. I thought it was just like, I thought it just rang folklore. A few times.
Yeah.
Folklore. So anyway.
Isn't that Dispatcher 101? You don't call back and go, everything all right over there? Okay, good. Just double checking. No. Come on.
Well, on that note, thank you so much to Claire McNulty and Kate Berlant.
What a joy.
The day. Thank you. This has been wonderful.
Great to see you.
Okay. I think we got it.
Okay, great. We got it. Don't worry. I've been doing this a long time, sweetie. We got it. Okay.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that conversation as much as I did. Thank you so much to Claire McNulty and Kate Berlant for stopping by so we can talk about what else? Ourselves. And Search Party, of course. Until next time, I'm Bowen Yang. Join me next week for 2 new episodes in which we deep dive into the many themes of Search Party with even more special guests. Search Party, the podcast, is a production of HBO Max and iHeartRadio. It's executive produced by Ethan Fixell, produced and written by Jonah Bayer, written and researched by Marissa Brown, and engineered, edited, and mixed by Matt Stillo. If you haven't already subscribed, rated, or reviewed Search Party the podcast, please do so on the iHeartRadio app, HBO Max, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you might get your podcasts. And don't forget to watch Season 4 of Search Party, premiering January 14th only on HBO Max.